We're going to cover techniques that will help you maintain a gradebook in Microsoft Excel. For our first objective, we'll cover basic formatting that will help you organize your gradebook. In particular, I'll show you how to identify cells, adjust the width of your columns, freeze your first column, and shade alternate rows. For our second objective, we'll cover functions that will aid you in grading. By the end of this presentation, you'll know how to find the average scores as well as the highest and lower scores for an assignment. Keep a running total of students' points and find values using the COUNTIF functions. For our purposes, the value we'll find is incomplete assignments. Finally, I'll show you how to calculate a student's percentage grade and incorporate a function that will automatically assign a letter grade to the percentage. So let's get started. To identify the name of a cell, you simply locate the letter and number. This is important as Excel operates on commands based on the cell's names. When adjusting the width of a column or row, you simply click the end of a cell and drag it until you achieve the size you want. If you want to change the size of multiple rows or columns, hold down the Control or Command key on your keyboard and drag your cursor across the screen to highlight the columns you want to adjust. Then, drag the end of the cell as you would if changing the width of one column. Even after adjusting the size of our columns, we see that it is difficult to match a student's name with a grade. We can freeze the first column so our students' names remain on screen while the rest of the screen moves with our cursor. Click View, then Freeze First Column, and now you see that column A has been frozen so you can match the names of students with their assignments. Now let's apply color to alternating rows. First, I select the section that I'd like to apply the colors to. Then I go to the Home button and I go all the way to Conditional Formatting. I'll scroll down to New Rules. Under Style, I'll go down to Classic. And now I'm going to scroll down to use a formula to determine which format. And the formula that I'm typing in I'll also show on the screen for you so you can write this down. Now the automatic colors that Excel gives me is red on red, but I don't like those colors so I can change them. So I go down to Custom Format, and here I can change the color of the font, and I can also change the color of the background that I'd like to use. I'll go with a light blue, click OK, and that's the color that's going to show up in alternating rows on my screen. To compare student achievement to that of his or her peers, we're going to find the average, highest, and lowest score. To find the average score, we'll type in the average function. Now we're going to highlight the column of scores that we'd like to average, and once we've done highlighting it, we're going to click the Return or Enter key. Now we see that we have the average score for that assignment. Rather than manually typing in this command into each one of these cells, I'm going to click the bottom right of the cell and drag it across. Now we'll find the highest score in the assignment using the large command. So we'll type in large and we see array and K. Array is the range of scores. So we'll highlight the column. That gives us our array. Now the lowest unit for the scores is a whole number, so we'll click comma to separate the array from K, and we'll type in the number 1. Click Enter, and here we see the maximum score. The process for the smallest score is similar, but we use the small command rather than the large command. So we'll again highlight the column, then we'll type in comma to separate the array from K, type in the number 1, and here we see our minimum and maximum scores. Again, rather than typing in this command in each cell, I'm going to copy the commands by holding down onto the lower right of the cell and bringing it across the row. Now we'll cover the summing function and the COUNTIF function. To add all of the students' scores, we are going to use the sum function by typing in sum, and then we're going to highlight the row that includes all of a student's scores. After we've highlighted the row, we're going to click Enter or Return, and that will total up the scores for us. Rather than manually type in each score, again I'm going to copy and paste this by pulling down on the bottom right corner. Now I'd like to total up the number of incomplete assignments a student has. To do this, I'll use the COUNTIF command. I'll type in COUNTIF in the appropriate cell, and upon clicking it, I will see the words range and criteria. To determine the range, I'll highlight the cells for the student. For the criteria, I will click comma to separate range from criteria and type in the word incomplete within quotation marks. Upon clicking Enter or Return, we'll see that this student has 0 incomplete assignments. Now let's find a student who has incomplete assignments. Again, I'll type in the COUNTIF function. I'll highlight the range of cells that I'd like included. And then in order to separate the range of cells from my value, I'll use a comma and then type incomplete within quotation marks. Here we see that there are 5 incompletes for this student. I can copy and paste this command into each of these students by dragging onto the lower right of the cell. Let's determine the percentage grade. To do so, we will click in the equal sign, we'll highlight the cell with the student's grade number, and then we are going to manually type in the total possible points that a student can achieve. It's pretty simple, and we can copy and paste this command into each student's cells. To change these numbers from decimals to percentage, all we do is click on the percentage button at the top of the screen. Finally, we're going to use the lookup command to change a student's percentage scores into a letter grade. To do so, we're going to type in the lookup function. Upon clicking it, we will see lookup value and array. The lookup value is the student's percentage grade, whereas the array is the letter grades that we have included in a chart in the bottom of my sheet. So, upon typing in percentage, we're going to scroll down where we see the list of cutoff grades. Notice how my grades are decimals, not whole numbers or percentages. We're going to highlight the decimal grades, and then we're going to click a comma after this column in order to separate the numbers from the letters. Now we're going to highlight the letter column. Upon doing that, we are going to hit Enter or Return. And here you see the student has received a B. Now let's try this again. Type in lookup function, then click on the cell with a student's percentage grade. Include a comma, then scroll down, highlight the column with the numbers, include a comma, then highlight the column with the letters. After you press Enter, the letter grade will appear in the cell. I sincerely hope this presentation was helpful for you. Thank you for watching.